Hello Chronoholics, I am Dr. Karan Madan. Welcome to another episode of Dive Into the Industry, where we talk to eminent personalities from the industry and get a glimpse behind the curtain. Today, our guest is Mr. Alain Sponem, the CFO and COO of the Sowind Group. And Sowind Group currently owns Ulysse Nardin and Girard-Perregaux as watchmakers. Hi, Alain, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you, and yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Welcome to Chronoholic, such a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Let's dive right into it, right?
Yes.
We've appreciated Ulysse Nardin as a brand for many, many decades now. And we've followed their journey from an independent brand to the Schneider era, to the Kering era, and now in the hands of Sowind Group.
Yes.
How has the brand's journey been for all of these decades?
So I think first that what is important to note is that the time where Ulysse Nardin and Girard-Perregaux were not independent is actually a very short time.
Sure.
It corresponds to the Kering era.
That's right.
And for most of the life of these brands, basically the owners were also the managers of the brand.
Right.
And as you pointed out, it was a family brand, both of them. Right?
Yes.
And now it's no longer a family, but I would say it's management.
Sure. Yeah.
So because we performed, as you know, a management buyout on both brands in 2022.
Right.
And what was important for us in this project is to secure really a long-term project.
Sure.
Where, as you know, maybe better than I, luxury is about long-term view.
Absolutely.
And we needed to secure a project that would allow us to do what's best for the brand.
Right.
And this is what we, I think, succeeded in doing.
Definitely.
Because our investors are family offices,
right,
and not private equity,
Wonderful.
and not short-term oriented investors.
Right.
And actually, we reconnected the brand by doing that with the fact that the owners are also the managers of the brand.
That's right, absolutely. We've seen the peak of Ulysse Nardin come into play in the early 2000s, especially late 90s as well, the early 2000s. But then we also saw a decline, unfortunately. And now I think the change is coming. Now the change is visible to us that you guys are making the right moves. What do you think has been the hallmark change that the Sowind Group is bringing to the two brands?
Maybe we can do a bit of archaeology together.
Please, absolutely, let's do it.
Because for sure, and maybe I will talk for both brands here, because actually the story is quite similar.
I know, yeah.
You had Gino Macaluso for Girard-Perregaux, and you had Rolf Schneider for Ulysse Nardin, and both actually sadly passed away at the beginning of the 2010 something.
Right, yes.
11
That's right, yeah.
And basically, it was the wrong time actually for the brand, because as you know, the watchmaking industry underwent some major evolution. And unfortunately, with these transition years, the turning points have not been taken by these brands.
That's right.
And this explains why you had a peak and then maybe, I would say, a sleep.
Sure, yeah. Not a decline as such, but definitely a downward trend of some sort.
Yes, exactly. And to be honest, actually, the turnaround of the brand didn't start with the MBO. It started under Kering era.
Right.
And Kering was a marvelous shareholder, I must say, because actually they agree to the plan that Patrick and I proposed to bring back to life these brands. And it started actually probably in 2019, 2020. And then with the MBO, actually the independence enabled us probably to go full speed. Also because people, when it's your own baby, you feel also more energetic doing what's best.
Absolutely. That's kind of the overview of how the Sowind Group is behaving right now. Does that also mean more production? Are you looking at higher production numbers? Because when I said that rise and a small decline, I meant that we could see a lot of Ulysse Nardin watches and even Girard-Perregaux watches on the shelves. People were buying those watches. But then all of a sudden, people stopped buying those watches. I think it was because it was on everybody's wrist. Anybody who mattered was wearing one. And consequently, people stopped buying those watches. And now we see dedicated spaces like this boutique for Ulysse Nardin come in. So for the record, we are in the dedicated Ulysse Nardin boutique that's been recently opened at the City of Time by Ethos in Gurugram. wonderful flagship space. You definitely should visit because they have the best collections from the brand on display for trial and for purchase. Do give it a shot. So when we do this, when you invest money and time into developing a dedicated boutique space like this, you also had a Girard-Perregaux boutique in Delhi prior to that. I think that's being revamped right now, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a lot of commitment. Do you see, before I come to the Indian market, do you see a lot of potential coming into the market because you're making these moves? That means you must have faith in the watch market and in the industry to do this for the brands.
Actually, if we didn't have faith, we wouldn't have started the video.
Right? Yeah.
That's right,
Sure.
For sure. And actually, I think that Ulysse Nardin and Girard-Perregaux they are the two last independent brands that are true manufacturers, that are brands of ideology,
That's right.
and that have continuous operations.
Absolutely.
So
that is very important to know because a lot of people don't know that we see a lot of revival brands coming in, revivals coming in, and they play on the history of 200 years, 220 years. But these are the two brands, almost with Ulysse Nardin has almost 180 years of history next year, and Girard-Perregaux has about 235 years.
1791.
Look at that. So these are brands that have been in continuous production for all these years.
Yes.
That is a feat of achievement.
Exactly.
Wow.
These brands have a lot in them, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is sure too is that the world evolved, and when you see the exportation from Switzerland in terms of watchmaking, the value is increasing, not the quantity. So for sure, we need to adapt, and we will probably never come back to the volumes and the quantities we had before. Nevertheless, as you can see in the product offering, we are going up. But I think that the customer actually it's good for the consumer, right? Because in terms for Girard-Perregaux, the higher finishing.
That's right.
We will have soon a new movement.
Oh, nice.
What you see with the free kick crystallium, I think we will probably talk about that later. But free kick crystallium, you see that we can add a lot of value for the consumer. Still, so to answer your question, we do not want to increase the production. Of course, we have a manufacturer. So
that's
as manufacturer, you need volume and quantity to be economically viable. So if we grow a bit in terms of volume, that will be good. But we do not have the intention of being a mass brand. And today we are less than 7,000 units for Ulysse Nardin.
Wow. Okay.
And it will be around that for a few years.
That's, while a lot of people might say that, hey, I think they may say that the brand is making itself scarce by design. But I think, like you said, I think it's a good move because that's how you retain brand equity. You tell people what this brand is all about, what this watchmaking is all about. It's not run-of-the-mill, mass-marketed production line watches at all. These are finished to detail, the attention to detail put into these watches, the artisans that sit for hours on end, for weeks to finish one watch. It should mean something. So we've known that Ulysse Nardin stands for those values for all time, and you're making very direct moves to kind of cement that idea into the consumer's mindset. At the same time, that also means your pricing goes upwards consistently.
Yes.
Do you think the fan of an Ulysse Nardin is being outpriced in this current market scenario?
We do not feel that way,
and
figures tell otherwise because we are in quite a difficult environment today. I think we are probably one of the very rare brands that are stable. Basically, this is also linked to what you've just said before, the fact that we manage the scarcity. I'm not sure we are managing the scarcity. It's a bit overrated, but we are keen on keeping the sell-in, so the sales to the retailer, lower than the sell-out, so the sales to the final customer. Because we do not want to overstock the market. And for the brand equity, also in terms of value retention, which is also sometimes purchasing factor, we need to have a steady and a healthy growth. And when you see the dynamics of that for Ulysse Nardin, it has been quite good for the last few years.
That's pretty interesting to know because, if anything, the last 5-6 years have taught us that value retention, market positioning, as well as retail pricing, I think they are very important factors in the purchase-making decision. fans will always buy. I mean, that's a given, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're catering very targetedly to those people who have been fans of the brand, who've supported the brand through all these years, and not given into not reacted to the market dynamics. I mean, we all kind of are affected by markets, sure, but not giving in and standing your ground and showing to the world what we stand for is very important.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fantastic. Yes.
But if I may, of course, prices of watches are high and
yes.
watches are expensive.
Sure.
But when you think about that, you can have a Freak X,
yeah.
which is a piece of history in terms
sure,
of
absolutely,
making,
yeah.
a piece of high technology. It's a 1 hour carousel, right?
Yeah.
For approximately 30k Swiss francs.
Sure.
Which brand does offer such a
highly unlikely to find something that unique in that kind of a price point. I get it. And that's why, in fact, I've been raring to talk about the collections as well. But just to round off the market dynamics factor, yeah. I just want to mention, and I want you to kind of tell us, I'm sure you must have a lot of faith in the Indian market to kind of invest in a space like this to make sure that the best of the collections are available immediately for our consumers.
So for sure, Asia as a whole,
sure.
Represent more or less 50% of the world population, and accounts or will account for 70-80% of the added
sure.
value in
yeah.
terms of economic creation, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, India is well positioned
yeah.
to benefit from that.
Right.
On top of that, you have a young population,
yeah.
well trained.
Definitely.
The country need investments in infrastructure, so it will bring also some economic activities
right.
and so on.
Right.
So I share your view with the fact that India is a growth market.
Lovely.
And that's one of the reasons actually why we are working with Ethos and
Certainly.
we are opening such a monobrand boutique in Delhi.
That's right. No, that, like I said, it signals a lot of faith and good things in the pipeline as well. Coming to the collections, I think the Marine Topio and the Marine series especially were hot favorites of the Indian watch buyer in the last decade or so. What the brand is doing right now is they are bringing very modern watchmaking, very young looking watches to the masses as well.
We have seen a rejuvenation of the customer base.
Yes, yeah.
For sure. I think that the customer age for Ulysse Nardin is probably 10 years younger
sure.
than a few years before.
Definitely.
And through contemporary watches. What is interesting is that we haven't alienated the older population.
That's right.
Because we still have the Marine collection,
absolutely.
which is still a stronghold for the brand.
Yeah.
Coming, the Marine history, heritage.
The history behind that collection is immense.
It's just immense.
Yeah.
We were actually the leading producer of Marine deck chronometers over 1 century.
Absolutely.
And also because people that bought a Ulysse Nardin 20 years ago, even a Marine Torpilleur, but at that time, Marine, you already have a lot of innovation.
That's right.
So that are people that are interested in innovation.
That's right.
And this ethos of innovation of the brand is still the same or even increased today.
That's
so
right.
there is no reason why people of 50 plus having bought a Marine
absolutely
10 years ago could buy a Freak because it's still the pinnacle of the innovation.
Very relevant watches. The Freak might appear to be an outlier of hierology. Trust me, it's not. It's a very readable watch. It's a very relevant watch, and especially the material play that the brand is indulging in. They're bringing new age materials, working with carbon, working with titanium, working with precious metals. Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, let's talk about that. That's, you've mentioned it again, so let's talk about that. Yeah. The Freak X Crystallium. I mean, what a release. I mean, what prompted the use of this material first of all, and how do you position Freak X versus the actual Freak?
So first, I would say that Freak X is not a cheaper Freak.
Yeah.
It's a true Freak.
Sure.
Right? And when it comes to Freak Crystallium, actually you have two major, I would say, value.
Yeah.
First, you have the Freak,
that's right,
which is the most complicated time-only watch ever created.
Absolutely.
It paves the way in 2001 for the super watches that came after, MB&F,
sure.
Richard Mille.
Sure.
First watch also to use silicon within the movement in 2001.
Wow. Yes, that's right.
So you have a Freak.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have high-tech decorative art.
That's right.
Crystallium.
Absolutely.
And Crystallium is actually a ruthenium, so it's a platinum, platinum from the platinum group in terms of metal.
Right.
It's 10 times rarer than platinum.
Amazing.
And actually, it's like a bit frost forming on the glass. It's really the
That's
same.
right.
Yes.
The appearance is like that. There's frost forming on the glass as
Exactly.
well.
There is the same process.
Yeah.
It's called the vapor deposition crystallization process.
Wow.
And actually it gives you a kind of fractal-like crystals that are unique. So each our disk in crystallium is unique.
Is a unique piece.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes, and it's enabled by the fact that Ulysse Nardin works a lot with material, a lot of with startups, right?
That's right, yeah.
You've seen the Diver Air, so collaboration between 10 startups, I believe.
That's right.
Crystallium is also coming from that legacy. And I would say that it embodies exactly what Ulysse Nardin is. Pioneering innovation, unmatched craftsmanship, and also boldness in terms of design and use of materials.
Sure. So, and that also, the independence also brings you the freedom to partner up with startups and new age materials and new age companies that are bringing in, well, amazing things to the world, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. But if you like the Freak collection, stay tuned, because in Dubai Watch Week we will have a major release.
We'll be there. We'll see you there.
With pleasure.
That'll be amazing.
And next year is the 25th anniversary of the Freak.
That's right.
And so we'll have some major launches too.
Oh wow! So Dubai Watch Week we'll have some releases, and then Watches and Wonders again we'll have some releases. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you see an overlap between the Freak versus the Marine collection, for example, or the Diver collection?
To be honest, and if we are looking back, in 2016 we had over 10 collections.
Yeah. So that's right. Yes,
we
correct.
have already streamlined a lot the collections.
Yeah.
So that's my first answer.
Sure.
Then I think that each collection brings something specific and highlight some specificities of the brand.
Right.
Marine, it's your stronghold,
it's history,
your legacy,
absolutely.
it's heritage. Freak, it's a category of its own.
Sure.
The Blast is more for the hierarchy, but in terms also of métier d'art. You may think about the blast freewheel silicone marquetry.
That's right.
It's simply an example. And then you have the Diver, which is, I would say, the hierarchy sports line.
Sure.
And which actually also was a collection used to test a lot of materials.
Sure, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So each collection at its use, actually, and consumer and fans can actually go through this different collection and always have something different from the brand. So actually, for somebody passionate about Ulysse Nardin, it gives endless possibilities to discover the brand through different aspects.
I see what you're saying there. I kind of understand the brand's positioning on these things, but then when there is so much emphasis on the marine functionality of our watches and the diving pedigree of Ulysse Nardin as divers watches, do you not want to also capture the land and the air aspects of nature and then make watches that kind of dominate there?
You know what? Actually, marine is our original, I would say, territory. But actually, the real territory of the brand is pushing boundaries.
Sure.
You know, Paul David Nardin, the son of Ulysse Nardin, had the quote is, "If it's possible, it's done.
Yeah.
If it's impossible, it will be done." So this is something you could hear from Elon Musk.
Sure.
Except it told them at the end of the 19th century, right? So the brand is not so much about the marine.
That's right.
Of course, it's marine.
Sure.
But it's about pushing boundaries and pioneering innovation and technology.
Right.
And that's what Ulysse Nardin is about.
Okay. So where do you see the Freak going from here? I mean, do you think there will be another way of utilizing the Freak mechanism to tell time in another way? Maybe a chronograph in the future? Does that work?
Well, to be honest, I'm the CFO and CEO, so I couldn't say if technically it works. Definitely there will be some novelties on the Freak. Once again, I cannot tell more now.
Oh, so next year. We'll wait for next year. That's fine. That's fine.
Yes, I need to tease you a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So no, I'm glad that I asked this question because 2026, like you said, it's going to be the 25th year anniversary of the Freak. Fireworks lined up, I guess. So we look forward to that. Then tell me, you've done all kinds of marine watches, and that's very important. You were the pioneers of the marine chronometer, which aided navigation, our forefathers to travel the world, for example. Where does the marine line go from here? Do you think there is anything more to be done in the marine sphere?
So clearly, the marine collection will stay within Ulysse Nardin collections. Now, as you know, we are a small company with limited resources, of course, and we need to focus on our current assortments of the Freak because it's the icon of the brand, and so we need to particularly take care of that.
Got it.
But soon after, we will revise the marine collection.
Lovely.
So it will probably come by
I think
the next 2 years or 3 years.
Absolutely, it deserves that recognition. It deserves a repetitive alignment with how the market is behaving also, because like you said, it's your bread and butter. That's where the brand comes from. That's where they build their legacy.
Yeah.
So the legacy should always be respected and carried forward.
Exactly.
It's very important to us to know that, and we have the data to support this. We know that there are a lot of women collectors, watch collectors out there as well, and they love Ulysse Nardin. I know for a fact that all of your collections have some watches targeted at women, but to me, size-wise, I call them more unisex watches than women watches for women. I get how those watches are embellished, bejeweled, decorated, or in precious metals to appeal to the feminine side. But is there a thought given by the brand, by Ulysse Nardin, to dedicatedly bring a line for women?
Not for the moment.
Okay.
Actually, what you say is, however, very interesting, because there is a trend for smaller sizes.
Yes, yeah.
And we will definitely work on that
Sure.
to fit smaller wrists.
Sure.
Too. And so women will be included. But once again, if you think about what Ulysse Nardin is,
Sure.
is
Fair.
is for people loving innovation,
Yeah.
that actually probably see their watch as a form of self-expression.
Certainly,
right?
certainly.
And Ulysse Nardin is a kind of mirror of what they are themselves.
Yeah.
Because pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
And I do not see why women cannot
Yeah.
push boundaries.
Oh, certainly, they
So
push more boundaries
Yeah.
anyway now. Yeah. Are there any plans to shrink down the collections?
That's why I said you need to wait for the next 2 to 3 years that we revamp a bit the
Sure.
collection.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, it will come.
That's great to know. There's great stuff lined up for the brand. I'm probably gonna stick to the 44mm diver if I choose to go for one, because that's what I like.
Yes.
And I love the play of materials that you guys do. Seriously, I'm a big fan of the brand, and you have my compliments for maintaining brand equity in a very tough market. These are things that are good signals for the next decade to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we are here to take care of the brands.
Certainly.
We do not actually own them.
Absolutely.
We are curators.
In that brings me to my last question.
Yes.
Okay. What are you doing to preserve the legacy of the brand? Are you building a museum? Are you building a showcase in the manufacture?
So if one day you come and visit us in La Chaux-de-Fonds,
Sure.
and in Le Loc,
Yeah.
La Chaux-de-Fonds for Girard-Perregaux,
Yeah.
and Le Loc for Ulysse Nardin,
Sure.
we have, of course, a museum for both brands.
Lovely.
And actually, we do a lot in terms of heritage, in terms also of archiving, work on the archives to extract the DNA of the brand and make sure that indeed we can pass it to the next generation,
Yeah.
even bigger as what we received ourselves.
On that note, I really hope that you enjoy your time in India.
Yes.
I love the freak that you're wearing on your wrist.
Thank you very much.
So
Go for it.
Do you want to do a quick fire? Just 2 questions. Yeah. Yeah. What would be your favorite collection from Ulysse Nardin? Your personal collection.
Freak and marine. Marine for the heritage, freak
Yeah.
for the innovation.
So between the marine and the diver, what would you pick?
Marine.
Yeah. Between the freak and the blast, what would you pick?
Freak.
Freak. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for the
Alain.
nice conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Yes,
So.
and I hope your auditors will enjoy it. So
They certainly will. Thank you for watching. This has been wonderful. We'll be back with another episode of Dive into the Industry. Stay tuned. Thank you.